So the first question is if I can have your first, your last name, and spell them both out for me.
Okay. Jennifer Soto, JENNIFERSOTO.
Mother.
Mother.
Jennifer, tell me how you feeling right now.
I feel like I can't breathe. All I keep thinking about is, where is she? Is she safe? Is she okay? But we're all a wreck. My entire family is a mess. We're just so worried.
When did you first realize, or when did you file a missing report?
We filed a missing report. We called the police at like 4:45 yesterday, 4:45 p.m. But she actually went missing early that morning, around between 8:45 and 9 o'clock in the morning. She went missing. We had dropped her off close to the school. She wanted to walk the rest of the way. Sorry. That should be it. Sorry about that. We dropped her off at school, close to school. She wanted to walk the rest of the way. I'm not sure what I'm allowed to share.
You share whatever you feel comfortable sharing. I know you had conversations with detectives. Not sure what that conversation is, but whichever you feel comfortable sharing, that we'll put the awareness out there.
Yeah, she was spotted walking by the church, by the middle school, on the cameras. They saw her hang out in the parking lot for a little bit and then get up and leave. They didn't see a vehicle or anything else. They just saw her walk away. Around 9 a.m. heading towards the school, but she never made it. Yeah.
What has the school said? Have you been in contact with the school?
Yes, that they're doing everything they can. They've given me all their resources. The principals called me. They've looked at their cameras. I don't think they've caught anything on the cameras that's too far away from the sidewalk. Everything is too grainy, so they can't see specific faces. But they've looked. I'm just waiting to hear anything else from them.
Is this normal behavior?
Not at all.
To just not show up or call or text or anything?
Not at all, no. She, from time to time, she will leave her cell phone at home accidentally, and that's actually what happened yesterday. She left her phone at home. She went to school. But that happens from time to time. She's got ADHD, her memory, she's very forgetful. So yeah, there's no way to track her right now because the detectives now have her phone. But this isn't normal behavior now.
What was the last thing, I guess, the conversation that you two had, you and your daughter?
We spoke about her birthday party. She had a birthday party on Sunday. She had a great time. I couldn't make it because I was working, but she had an amazing time. She was so happy with all her gifts. I told her good night, and yeah, that was it. I wasn't the one who took her to school in the morning. That was my partner. But yeah.
13?
She's 13 years old, yes.
13, Madeline.
Madeline.
What are you thinking right now?
In my heart, I feel like somebody took her. This isn't like her to just pick up and run away, or just not go to school. I don't know what to think.
Friends, the friends' parents, you've contacted and went through every single person?
Everyone that we know that she knows, we've contacted them all, reached out to them. The parents have gone out to search and look for her as well. And we haven't come up with anything yet.
I've seen a lot of posts on Facebook, Hunters Creek, rants and raves and what have you. Did people say that they were going to conduct some type of like search party or anything?
A lot of people have asked me to volunteer, like if there is one, if they can do one. I have people passing out flyers, going to every store in that vicinity, a gas station, church. I think people were being stopped in the street this morning in front of the school to see if they've seen anything, if they've heard anything. My family they're going all out right now. Yeah.
I know as a mother, you have a lot is going on in your brain.
So much
to bring her back home. What have the law enforcement told you that you are able to share?
I mean, that they're doing the best they can. They've had detectives come out, interview us. They took a piece of her clothing for the canine dog to see if they can sniff her out. I'm not sure when that's being done.
Do you have any inkling where she possibly could be? Like if you would say, okay, last time I went to work and came back, she was at James' house or Sabrina's house, and maybe I forgot to check that house, or she played at this park one weekend, maybe she went back there or something like that.
We've looked everywhere we could have thought, and anywhere she would have been. She would have known to wait for me at the school. But we did check where if she could have walked. My mom's office is close to the school. We checked there. We checked the walking paths that she could have taken. We've checked all of her friend's house. I think we've checked everywhere I could think of, honestly.
What do you think, oh gosh, I just had it tip of my tongue. What was she wearing?
She was last seen wearing a green hoodie, black shorts, white Crocs, a black JanSport backpack with gray hibiscus flowers on it. That's about it.
And you said this is not like her.
Okay. Is that better? Or is it echoing?
At all.
To run away, an argument, anything like that to provoke her?
She's never done anything like this, no. And we haven't had any arguments recently to have this outcome.
What school?
Hunters Creek Middle School.
Tom, any questions?
No.
Is there anything that you think our viewers would need to know about the way you're feeling, the way the family's feeling, Madeline?
We are desperate for any answers, anything that you could do to help. I'm here for it. Just please, if you see my daughter, just please bring her home. I just hope you're okay, Maddie. I hope you're safe. I hope you're not hurt. I just hope she's okay.
When did you notice that she was missing? Because this was at the beginning of the morning.
She got dropped off in the morning. We did not notice until after school pickup at 4 o'clock when I went to go pick her up, and she wasn't at school.
So we're going in 24 hours now.
Yeah.
Just about.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Nothing. No word. No text message. No messages anywhere from her. I've looked at all her social medias. I've looked at all her games she could have played with. Any app. No weird conversations. Nothing strange. Everything was conversations with just normal friends or us.
Is it echoing? It seems really weird that she would not find anything on that phone.
That she knows how to get home by herself, as if, like, let's just say, to take a bus or an Uber or something like that. She would know how to get home alone, correct?
I'm not sure. I don't know if she would know how to get home. Maybe, I mean, if someone got in the car with her and if she pointed the way, what roads, she probably could figure out how to get, but like, does she know our full address? I don't think she does.
Which would give me it just puts in my brain that she always comes home with someone.
She always comes home with me.
There's no need for her to really
Exactly.
learn. Okay. And you said no time? I think that was everything.
Real quick, I just think it's so weird that a 13-year-old girl wouldn't even know her address. My 5-year-old granddaughter knows her address. That was another red flag.
All right, the first question is if I can get your first and last name and spell them both out for me.
Stephan Sterns, Stephan Sterns.
All right, so Stephan, you seem very emotional right now. Explain to us.
I dropped her off. Everything looked fine when I drove away. It's the last time we saw her.
What were the conversations that y'all had in the car when you dropped her off?
Not much. She was asleep for most of the way. Told her have a good day at school when she got out. I love her. She said thanks, love you too. That was it.
And so where do you think she could possibly be? I mean, this isn't, as I was told, this isn't
He
normal
makes me
behavior.
sick.
This is not normal behavior. She's not the type that would just run off. We don't know where she can be. And we're scared. We just want her home.
Are you, in a sense, blaming yourself?
It's hard not to.
Why?
I dropped her off early. I could have waited longer. She looked okay. She was walking towards the school when I saw her. It was like any other day, so I went on with my day. It's hard not to blame myself.
What has the conversation been with Jen since?
She's been a lot stronger than me.
You're a manipulator. Just by saying she's been a lot stronger than me feels so manipulative.
She's been holding it together really well, but it just keeps coming in waves. Just the reality keeps hitting. We don't know where she is. We don't know if she's safe. We're just scared. We just want her home.
Have you, like, literally put boots on the ground, went out?
Yeah, I even went out with the cops where I had dropped her off, and we looked all up and down the road, all along the communities, and there was nothing helpful. None of the cameras were pointing the street. Nothing, which in 2024 was surprising. The church across the street had some cameras, and they mentioned seeing her waiting around in the parking lot for a while before moving on, and that was it. But it was grainy. It was grainy footage and not much else.
Does it seem like she walked west, east?
They said in the direction of the school. I'm not sure what that is.
What was the language? Not language verbally, language, body language. When you dropped her off, did she seem happy? Was she like, I'm going to meet my friends?
Happy. She had a happy weekend. She just turned 13. She had her 13th birthday party. She was happy that we were all together here, and she's just very happy. She was a happy kid. She's very sweet. She's a very sweet girl. She brings a lot of joy to us, and we just not knowing.
So the unknown is killing you.
Yeah, it's like our whole world is upside down. Not feeling her presence here is... Sorry. It's hard.
Oh no, you're fine. You don't need to apologize. What do you want our viewers to know when they see this?
She's a sweetheart. She's a very sweet, kind girl. Just please be nice to her. Bring her home if you find her. Tell her that we love her. Wherever she is, I hope she's okay.
I mean, if someone were to come in contact with her and you gave me her diagnoses, would it be easy to approach her without any like agitation or anything?
Yeah. She's a good kid. She's a good kid.
If you can sum up in one complete sentence, waking up, getting ready to drop her off at school, dropping her off at school, to now speaking to me after talking to the police about her being missing for over 24 hours right now? And one complete sentence, what would that be?
A living nightmare. It's a living nightmare. Day started off like any other. And I just want to wake up and just get hit with waves of the reality. Just it's setting in. As soon as it got dark last night, we started falling apart because we knew it wasn't going to come to an end. And now we're going on 24 hours and still nothing. Just conflicting reports here and there. People say they see this or that. None of it's conclusive and none of it's helpful. We just want our baby girl back.
Tom, any questions?
No, I'm good.
Thank you. Good. So the first question is if I can have your first, your last name and spell them both.
Okay, can you hear me now? Let's see if you can hear me real quick. All right, now you can hear me. Okay, can you hear me now? All right, got it. Okay, so I was trying to keep myself from echoing. It echoes in my headset. Anyway, so on February 28th, a massive search was conducted by the sheriff's office. And the sheriff said that they accessed Soto's phone and they found information that indicated she wanted to go live in the woods when she turned 13 years old. Well, the sheriff's office that same day is when they announced that Stearns was arrested as the prime suspect in Madeline's disappearance. Hi, Borrowed Angel. Hi, all of you. Thank you so much for dealing with my audio issues. I think it sounds fine on your end, but in mine, it's driving me batshit crazy. All right, so this was his arrest announcement.
Stephan, where's Maddie? Did you hurt her? Are you a pedophile? What's on your cell phone? Why aren't you talking to investigators? Where was Maddie last seen? Why aren't you helping her mother and her family? This is a little girl. Help them find Maddie. Where is Maddie? Where is she? What did you do with her? Tell us something.
Well, that reporter, she was all over him. I get a lot of credit for her. She did great. Um, so they announced that he was now the suspect in her disappearance. And then the next day, February 29th, is when they released the arrest affidavit, which provided more details about the investigation. All right, so this arrest affidavit is something else. I will be very careful with what I say to the best of my ability and still be able to actually get it across. But so this was the first one. He eventually has another charge added. But on this one, it is that sexual battery of a victim under 12 years old and familial. So then, so it says on February 26, 2024, at approximately 2000 hours, a 13-year-old was reported missing by her mother. The mother advised her daughter's stepfather, which is weird. He's not her stepfather. Stephan Sterns picked her up from home and dropped her off at Hunters Creek Middle School, where she went to school at, in Orlando, Florida. That was on February 26th. The mother then went to pick her up from school at dismissal and learned at that time that she had never shown up to school. An interview was conducted with Stephan, and during that interview with him, he provided consent to search his phone. What an idiot. However, he stated that he had accidentally performed a factory reset on his phone on the day she went missing. Because we all know it's so easy to do that factory reset accidentally, right? Upon reviewing the contents of Stephan's phone, several images and videos were located, which depicted an apparent child with her breasts, two openings as the focal point of the picture slash videos. And you guys probably already know, you use your imaginations. There were also pictures and videos depicting an apparent child's, and mouth being penetrated by his lack of manhood. The child was later identified as, and it's retracted, however, they left in the date of birth, and so we know that Madeline's date of birth was indeed February 22nd. Yeah, right. 18 buttons later you can accidentally reset your whole phone. So metadata from the images and photographs described above shows that in August of 2022, Stephan inserted his penis into the victim's mouth. A warrant was previously obtained for a sexual act that occurred after the victim turned 12 years old. The warrant is to charge that act that occurred before on August 2022 when the victim was 11 years old. And then it says further, as they were reviewing the images from the August 22 incident, that they observed the characteristics of the room where the incident had occurred. And previously, detectives of the Orange County Sheriff's Office were executing a search warrant on Stephan's home in Kissimmee, Florida. And this address is also where the victim, her mother, and Stephan live. The Orange County Sheriff's Office did take images of the layout of the inside of the residence. And based upon a review of those images from that execution of the search warrant, they were able to match, the pictures up, and that indeed the August 22 incident matches one of the rooms of the residence. Based on the totality of the circumstances, there is probable cause to believe Stephan committed a sexual battery, familial slash custodial authority on the victim when the victim was under 12 years old. Horrible, horrible stuff. Right? Yeah, because people like that do some really weird things. That's a good question, Roxy. I have that exact question here towards the end of the video. Yeah, it's like trophies. That's a word I was looking for. Thank you, Little Irish. It's like a trophy for them. But here's another thing. Like, I don't ever go through my husband's phone. I mean, we've been married for like 20 years, but on occasion, somebody will call him and he's not like right by, but I know it's important, so I'll answer it, or I'll, look at one of the texts, things like that. She never looked at the dude's phone in all those years. I mean, you don't even have to like be sitting there going through it, I would think. I don't know, but so he certainly tried to get rid of all that, but he didn't do very good. So, the Orange County Sheriff's Office put out this press release at that time, and they said there is a major development in the case of missing 13-year-old Madeline Soto. This evening, the Kissimmee Police Department, working in conjunction with the Orange County Sheriff's Office, arrested Stephan Sterns, 37, for sexual battery and possession of child sexual abuse material. Stephan Sterns is the boyfriend of Madeline's mother and the last confirmed person to see her on the morning of Monday, February 26th. Yeah, I think so too. And also, Elizabeth, that's possible. Was he selling it? He could have been. She buried her head in the sand. I'm wondering, I don't know. So during the investigation into Madeline's disappearance, the sheriff's office detectives discovered disturbing images when they forensically examined Stern's phone. A review of the phone's data revealed attempts to delete evidence. Through the work of our digital forensics unit earlier today, detectives discovered images and videos that were criminal and sexual in nature. Detectives then were able to determine that those crimes were committed at the family home in Kissimmee, and they immediately notified Kissimmee police. At this time, Kissimmee Police Department detectives are the lead on the sexual battery case, working alongside members of the Criminal Investigations Division of Orange County Sheriff's Office. And Orange County Sheriff's Office is still actively investigating Madeline's disappearance, and of course, Sterns is considered the prime suspect. It goes on to say this afternoon he was brought to OCSO's Central Operations, where he was interviewed by Kissimmee PD and OSCO detectives. He invoked his right to an attorney and was placed under arrest and transported to jail, where we expect he will be held on no bond. Stephan Sterns had an opportunity tonight to come clean with detectives and help lead them to information about Maddie's disappearance, said the sheriff. Her loved ones deserve answers, and the sheriff's department and Kissimmee police will not stop until we find Maddie. And the search for Madeline continued. All right, so we are at March 1st now. So far, they had not found her. On March 1st, during a news conference, the sheriff said that investigators were pretty confident that Soto was already deceased, having been killed at her Kissimmee home before Sterns moved her body. Well, he has a capital charge, so he's going to have a problem with that. And then if he is found guilty, Florida, they have capital punishment. So the sheriff's office later said that they had found Madeline's backpack and her school-issued laptop in a dumpster, which, remember, go back to the mom's interview. Mom said that the laptop was turned off. That night, a vigil was held in Madeline's memory near her middle school. All right. And then this is a short clip where they go over the fact that they do think she is indeed deceased.
And good evening. This is News 6 at 6:30. Getting results. Thanks for joining us. I'm Lisa Bell. Ginger has.
Twist started this afternoon with Orange County Sheriff John Mina announcing what no one hoped to hear. Now, minutes ago, deputies confirmed they have found the body of 13-year-old Madeline Soto. That discovery came late this afternoon off Hickory Tree Road. News 6's Troy Campbell is there live for us. Troy.
Well, Justin, right now we're standing just there in St. Cloud. If you take a look here behind me, this is what we've seen once we came out. That will be the road that will lead to the scene where investigators say that they did locate the body, 13-year-old Madeline Soto. We are in St. Cloud. Again, this is
RLF, sorry. For anybody watching the replay, yes, I was having audio issues at first. Sorry about that.
Off of Hickory Tree Road. To run you up to speed, again, Monday morning, it was reported that Madeline was dropped off at her school, Hunters Creek Middle School. However, when her mom went to pick her up later that night, school said, your daughter never came to school that day. Obviously frantic. Mom calls friends, loved ones. A couple hours later, they call the sheriff's office.
Thank you,
Sheriff's
Roxy.
office immediately sends out that this is very unusual for this girl to be missing. They speak with the family. Then comes in 37-year-old Stephan Sterns. He is the boyfriend of little Madeline's mother. Investigators say he was the one who was last to see her alive. He said he dropped her off to school. The sheriff said there just simply wasn't any evidence of that. They say he handed over his cell phone to investigators when they asked to go through his phone. Then he said, I'm handing you a phone that actually just had a factory reset that I accidentally did today, the day that she went missing, meaning on Monday. Sheriff Mina says he then handed that phone over to his forensic analyst. They were able to retrieve pictures, videos, graphic of him sexually assaulting a child. They didn't specifically say, didn't identify that child in that situation, but they did make it clear it was inside the family's home where little Madeline lives. So again, we are hearing from investigators. They did locate the body of 13-year-old Madeline Soto. This coming after she was last seen alive Monday morning. Her mother's boyfriend, 37-year-old Stephan Sterns, he is in the Osceola County Jail. He was moved there from the Orange County Jail this morning. Ultimately, he will likely now be facing murder charges in this case, given the sheriff has already made it clear he is the prime suspect, and they do believe, prior to discovering her body, investigators had already said they believe that she had been killed. So, of course, we're going to continue to get updates from investigators. The family, as well, we're told, have been notified about this at about this same time at 6:30 at Hunters Creek Middle School. Her friends, all her peers at her middle school were set to have a prayer vigil for her. So all of this is coming out as they're gathering. And of course, we're going to continue to ask the sheriff's office about the details of the discovery. Live in St. Cloud, Troy Campbell, Getting Results, News 6.
Just tragic. All right, Troy, thank you. And as Troy mentioned, in less than 30 minutes, many in the community are expected to gather in prayer at Hunters Creek Middle School. News 6's Brian Didlake is there live outside where that prayer vigil will be held.
Oh my gosh, candy wrapper. I saw that. Horrible. Horrible. And then there's also another case in Utah, I believe. Yeah, it's in Utah. I thought about covering it, but some of those, like the one you're talking about, candy wrapper, they're just, man. Yeah, she reported it. Yep. No, he's stuck there for a while. So back to that affidavit, and they said that, at least on that phone, now who knows? He might have had other phones before that. So they've known each other. He's known Jen for about 8 years. So who knows how long this truly went on, but they at least have 2022, and she was under 12 years of age at the time, making it a capital crime. So with the capital crime, he probably would face the death penalty. But this little clip is about, how it's happening for years.
You're learning new details in the case of Madeline Soto.
According to documents obtained by WESH 2, Soto's mother's boyfriend, Stephan Sterns, was abusing her for nearly 2 years. WESH 2's Haley Grumblehome breaks down what they found and how a therapist says you can spot signs of abuse. Haley.
So while law enforcement had initially found evidence that Sterns had been abusing Madeline when she was 12, this latest arrest affidavit that we obtained breaks down how they were able to determine that the abuse went back even further. An arrest affidavit for Stephan Sterns says he allowed law enforcement to search his phone, but said he had accidentally done a factory reset on it the day Madeline disappeared. Despite the reset, investigators say they were able to get videos and images off of the phone. And metadata showed some of what they found was from August of 2022, when Madeline would have been 11.
Oops, let me go back. Okay, so this is when they added that second charge of the possession of material. So that wasn't in the first affidavit. They amended it. And along with the amended one came some more pretty awful details. I don't even want to discuss them. They're already bad enough at this point. So most of you probably already know what was said. But one of the main reasons I wanted to show this video is because this lady's going to come on and she really discusses, with parents, how to look out for this and how to look out for your own children. A lot of times we think, well, we're doing a great job. We're taking care of them. Our eyes are on them. So that's why I left this little clip in. It only has about a minute and a half left.
From August of 2022, when Madeline would have been 11.
Mr. Sterns is aware of what he's been arrested for.
Sterns is now in the Osceola County Jail being held on charges of sexual battery and possession of child sexual abuse material. A therapist says it's important to talk to your kids about abuse, even if you think you don't need to.
Some family members or some parents feel they're doing everything that they can to protect their children, so it doesn't come to mind to even ask those questions.
Charlotte McCullough, a licensed marriage and family therapist, says there can be certain indicators that something can be happening with your child.
Specifically for sexual abuse, things like mistrust, things like not wanting to be alone with a certain person, things like knowing about sexual things that's inappropriate for their age.
She says indicators of emotional abuse can be depression, low self-esteem, and a lack of personal hygiene.
Your child shuts down or becomes withdrawn, that is the time to lean in, not from an aggressive perspective, but from a caring perspective, and just talking to them, normalizing talking to your teens about everything, including
bedwetting is also another sign, bedwetting past a normal age. I disagree with her on one part. I don't think you should be waiting until they're teens. I really don't. Usually by the time they're a teenager, things have already happened. So I don't know what that age is, but I think just, being open with your children very well could help.
Abuse.
Sterns is being held here at the Osceola County Jail on no bond for the charges he is facing. He has not been charged in connection with Madeline's death. If you know or suspect someone is being abused, we posted information on the Florida Abuse Hotline on WESH.com. Live in Osceola County, Haley Krovelholm, WESH 2 News.
And I will put that number in the description of the video. So if anybody ever needs it, look right there in the descriptions. The next one is the press conference where the sheriff had to come out and say that, yes, she is indeed deceased. And he gives us a little bit more information about things.
So thank you for being here. We have some important developments in this case that we want to share with our community. I wish we were here to tell you that we have found Madeline, but we have not found her. Last night, detectives from the Kissimmee Police met with Madeline's mother, and they had to tell her the very devastating news that although we have not found Madeline, we are now confident that she is dead. So our efforts will be focused on recovering Madeline. Dozens and dozens of detectives, crime analysts, and specialized team members have been working nonstop and following up on every single lead and every shred of evidence. Our detectives have determined that Madeline was never dropped off on the morning of February 26th near her school. Instead, we believe she was already dead at the time and that Stephan Sterns moved her body in the early morning hours on that day. We have video evidence that shows Stephan Sterns discarding items in a dumpster in that apartment.
So when he said that, I can go back to it again, but he says Stephan moved her body in the early morning hours. So he must have stayed there overnight. So when did he do that? Where was the mother? Things that make you go, I don't know. What do you guys think? I don't think it happened like right before school. I don't think it was like that. But the mom was at home.
Complex in Kissimmee at 7:35 on Monday, February 26. Detectives later recovered Madeline's backpack and her school-issued laptop from that dumpster. At 8:19, we have evidence that shows Stephan Sterns returning to the complex and Madeline was visible in that vehicle. We believe she was already dead at that time. As a result of that, although the initial missing persons investigation started in Orange County,
Jesse, that might be possible because did you catch him hesitate when he said the morning of the 26th? Maybe he just forgot the date, but highly unlikely. He definitely paused first.
The Kissimmee Police Department will now be taking over the investigation and will become the lead agency. And of course, the Orange County Sheriff's Office, all of our support personnel will be available and will still be assisting in this investigation. So at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Chief Holland from the Kissimmee Police Department. Chief?
You're right, Elizabeth. She hasn't.
Thank you for being here. As Sheriff Mina said, this is still an active and ongoing investigation, and there is a lot of additional information that we cannot release at this time. I do want to note that Stephan Sterns was transported from the Orange County Jail to the Osceola County Jail, where he is being held on capital sexual battery charges filed by the Kissimmee Police detectives. Right now, our top priority is recovering Madeline. We are still appealing to our community for its help in this case. Please share this crime line bulletin on my right of Stephan Sterns. He was last seen driving a silver 2010 Lincoln MKZ. The Florida tag is IYLL82. On Monday, February 26, between 1 and 2:30 p.m. in the area of State Road 192 and Old Hickory Tree Road, as well as Old Hickory Tree Road and Nolte Road. During this time frame, it is believed that Sterns had a flat tire and might have been seen changing the tire in this area.
So I wondered about this. Did he just drive around with her all day? Right. Yeah. Mom had to call him to come over to take her to school. That just doesn't even make sense. Oh, Lord. I don't know, Sarah. That's horrible, though. Absolutely horrible.
If anyone saw this vehicle or noticed anything suspicious, we're asking that they call Crime Line. We will continue to work tirelessly with the Orange County Sheriff's Office, the Osceola County Sheriff's Office, and St. Cloud Police Departments to bring a resolution to this case and recover Maddie. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Chief. We'll take some questions, but just remember, we're still in the middle of this investigation. There's a lot of things that we cannot reveal.
At this time, are there anything yet? Has Stearns spoken to anybody yet?
No, Stearns has not spoken to anyone.
Is there any possible specifics that you can give us as to what leads you to believe that she is definitively deceased?
The video evidence that we have.
Is it about just the position of her body, the way?
So we're not going to go into those exact details, but we have video evidence that leads us to believe that she's already dead.
Sheriff, there's been a lot of things.
Yeah, it was kind of really dumb to dump those things at the dumpster. He's not a very smart criminal. No wonder he has no criminal history. Yeah, the affidavit says they both live there. However, Stephan was living at his parents' house for about 3 months prior. And that's why they say that Jen had to call him to come over. So I think that's just what they told the police to begin with. She, in that one interview, she says he's her partner, but they definitely have been off and on over the years, more off than on. Yeah, it makes no sense at all. None.
Just laid out here just now. This location in the afternoon, is there a belief, are we trying to figure out, I know you're requesting video surveillance in that area, are you trying to figure out whether she was still with this car at that time?
Yeah, so it could be helpful to us if people saw something, and obviously we're searching many different areas, but if someone saw something in that area, we want to know about it.
Is that an area you've already searched?
What's that?
Where this car supposedly had a flat, is that an area you've already searched?
So we actually have people searching areas right now. So they've searched a bunch of different areas, and they're going to continue to search.
So, yeah, I've seen all the Reddit stuff. I didn't really feel, I don't know, it was weird, definitely weird. Like, yeah, how he was giving advice to teens and things like that. But I didn't, oh no. It wasn't anything worth putting into a video for me. It just kind of concreted, what we already knew. He's a weirdo. He likes the young girls, apparently.
I don't want to go into specifics on exactly where. I don't want to miss something.
Did she leave the house?
One more time.
Did she leave the house? Was she, at that time, did you believe that she was, did she leave the house on her own?
So what I'll say is what I already said is that we believe he moved her body in those early morning hours, and all that is still under investigation.
The mother is cooperating with the investigation?
Yes, we're talking to the mother, yes.
She's not considered a suspect?
So we're talking to the mother and all this. There's, to my knowledge, she's not a suspect in this case right now.
You had mentioned that he dropped some items.
To his knowledge.
That's correct. So from the dumpster, we recovered her backpack and her school issued laptop.
Sheriff, do we believe that I know that you're piecing things together with different portions of video. Is it the department's belief that she was killed at the house?
It's our belief that she was killed in Kissimmee and that he moved her body. And so that's why the Kissimmee Police Department is the lead investigators now.
So again, that makes me think she was killed at the house.
Messages that you'd said that Madeline might have sent about living in the woods when she turned 13. Are you questioning whether those were actually sent by her rather than someone else?
Yeah, that's all part of the investigation, so we haven't determined that yet.
Have you been in touch with Madeline's family? How are they taking this?
Yeah, so obviously detectives have spoken to her mother, and as you can imagine, the reaction that any parent would have.
So this is transitioned from a disappearance investigation to a murder investigation headed up by the Kissimmee Police Department.
That is correct. It is transitioned to a homicide investigation, and the Kissimmee Police Department will be the lead agency in that investigation.
At this point, any new charges?
We're still investigating it.
I have a question for you, Chief, regarding new charges, because we noticed there's an additional charge for sex battery on a victim under the age of 12. Are you continuing to go through his phone and find more evidence?
The detectives are continuing the investigation, and as more evidence comes up, there may be more charges in the future.
Is it believed that Madeline was a victim in that as part of that investigation?
That's still all part of the investigation, and I don't want to say right now.
What about the church footage that somebody mentioned that she was seen wearing she was seen at the church?
So yes, we reviewed that footage. It was very grainy. We weren't able to determine that was her, but like I said, we know that she was never dropped off at school that morning.
Are you assigning extra personnel to this case over the weekend? Are searches continuing?
That's correct. Searches are continuing as we speak. And so, like I said, we have people who are working nonstop. And so every lead that comes in, every piece of evidence that we receive, we're going to follow up on that. And if that leads us to a new search area, we'll be out all weekend.
Everybody good?
I think we're good.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Sheriff.
All right. Candy wrapper. I kind of think the same, but the only, I thought that earlier too. But why would he wait till daylight to do all the disposing? That would, you'd be a little safer if you did that at 2, 3, 4 a.m. than, the school morning when everybody's out and about. I don't know. Yeah. All right. So this is the last press release, and it was 4 days ago from Kissimmee Police Department, and it just says update on the Madeline Soto investigation. Our detectives and forensic unit are working tirelessly to uncover the truth behind this heartbreaking incident. At this time, we are unable to release any further information, as this remains an active and sensitive investigation. We understand the desire for updates, and we assure you that every effort is being made to get justice for Madeline. As our community continues to heal, please know that your safety and well-being remain our top priority. We appreciate your patience and cooperation during this difficult time. And so I always try to say this like in other cases, and I know we as a public, we get so frustrated because we want that information. We want the case solved. We almost feel like they owe it to us, don't we? I mean, I know I do. I'm like, TBI, give us something. But there's a reason they don't, and there's a reason they can't. So we have to be patient, and justice is kind of slow. Jealousy. I don't know. I have some thoughts that I'll go over here at the end. All right. So what do we know about Stephan? Not much. But what we do know has come from a few interviews with some old buddies of his that other creators on YouTube have gotten. They've called in. Now, one of those, or actually two of those were on Gray Hughes Investigates. There was also another guy that claimed to be his friend, and he called into another creator. But the way he talked and stuff he said, I didn't want to go there. But the two of them that Gray Hughes had that called in, I just kind of wrote down some of the highlights that kind of maybe meant something. And the first one, Stephan has known Jen for about 8 years, but they were more off than on. He said first instinct, when this came out, he was like, there is no way Stephan could have done this. There's no way. Until that photo information came out, and then he was like, oh, buddy, you're in trouble. He said that when they were younger, Stephan would collect semen in bottles, and he would say that you could put it in a girl's drink and that would get her pregnant. What a strange dude. They said he always had weird tics, like cracking his knuckles. In fact, 3 of his friends said that. He'd crack his knuckles, crack his neck, things like that. I think one of them even said that he would just like blurt out things sometimes out of the blue. Another one of his friends said that he was obsessed over porn, and that his mom was buying him Hustler magazines when he was just 13, and his dad would go out of town to work. But this same friend said that he definitely developed obsessions over things. And that goes kind of back to that Reddit stuff. He had all those collections. I know that there's plenty of adults that collect, things that were cool to us when we were young. To me, it's a little weird, but to each their own. Another one said that Stephan had an Adderall addiction. He would sleep all day and then he'd stay up all night. For the most part, he was jobless. I think somebody said it earlier. Spoiled. Yeah, he just bummed off his parents for the most. That car he was driving, that's his daddy's car. And this guy's 37 years old? He had told his buddy that he wanted to go back to Jen because him and Madeline had formed a bond. Yeah, him and Madeline had formed a bond. So a couple of times when he was living there with Jen, but they were split up, he would actually sleep in a spare room in the condo. Weird. The friend does still keep in touch and said that Stephan had been living back at his parents' house for the last 3 to 4 months. One of them said that Stephan and Madeline, when her mom and him were broke up, Stephan and Madeline would still text each other. Now, I don't know if that's so weird. He knew her 8 years or so, but it wouldn't be weird in a normal situation. It would be kind of, endearing. But knowing what we know about him, it's weird. They said he didn't have very many friends at all. His friends, for the most part, say they would have never suspected this, ever. That although he was kind of strange, he was kind of nerdy, he was into like the video games and things like that, there was no real red flags. 2 of the men have wives, children, and the one said that I think it was 2022. Yeah, that him and his wife got divorced. And Stephan reached out to his buddy's wife, hitting on her. And this guy was just like, okay, well, I mean, at least I know him. At least I know he'll be good to my kids. So there just wasn't those red flags. I don't think I included it here, but one did say that they were friends, I want to say like junior high or early high school age maybe. And their moms did horses together. And Stephan kept her horse at this kid's mom's barn. So she was over there like every day, and Stephan would come with her a lot. So he just kind of hung out with them during those times. But one time his mom was in like the back bathroom, and they noticed somebody was like moving around outside. So his dad went out there with a gun, and out by the barn, there they find Stephan with a camera in his hands. The friend thought maybe he was trying to get pictures of the mom while she was in the bathroom or what, but I guess the dad about shot him. So after that, he didn't come back around. Yes, they said that his mom hit him in front of one of his friends when he was a teen. Yes. The one friend said that the mom, she was abusive, very emotionally, but also physically as well. Said the dad worked out of town most all the time. So he just kind of made himself unavailable. They said the mom was very weird. She likes lawsuits. She likes to bring lawsuits. So, yeah. So that's about what we learned from as what he is. Now, Jen's inconsistencies. Boy, are there some. So I've got a clip here of, let's see, they're going to go over what exactly those inconsistencies are that we see. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that.
First breaking in the death of 13-year-old Madeline Soto. Why prosecutors are now calling for an investigation into this local sheriff, and how the story Madeline's mother provided law enforcement doesn't line up with what investigators know.
We spoke one-on-one with Jennifer Soto last Tuesday. Good afternoon. I'm Darlene Jones.
And I'm Greg Wormuth. At that point, her daughter Madeline had been missing for 1 day. She told us that Stephan Sterns, her boyfriend and now the prime suspect in Madeline's death, had taken the teenager to school. She said the last conversation she had with the 13-year-old was the night before. But this report we got a hold of today shows she told deputies she saw her daughter the morning of her disappearance. Channel 9 investigative reporter Shannon Butler has been digging into the details of this case. She joins us live in studio. And Shannon, that's not the only thing you noticed in this new report.
Greg, no one has been charged in Madeline Soto's death, but we do know investigators are looking into who knew what and when. And some of that means looking at those initial interviews of the couple and the ones later on. Sources tell me the statements about
The Sixth Sense, I think my thinking might be kind of in line with yours.
the timeline are not consistent. Jennifer Soto told us last week that the last conversation she had with her daughter was about her 13th birthday party the night before Maddie disappeared.
I told her good night, and yeah, that was it.
But according to documents, Sunday night was not the last time Soto saw Maddie. New documents show that Maddie's mom told deputies on February 26th that she saw her daughter getting dressed for school at 8 o'clock that morning, and that her boyfriend then took the teen to school. But since that initial report was taken, we learned from the Orange County Sheriff that Maddie was likely dead earlier than that.
Our detectives have determined that Madeline was never dropped off. Instead, we believe she was already dead at the time and that Stephan Sterns moved her body in the early morning hours on that day.
Channel 9 has been going through statements from Stephan Sterns and Soto trying to piece together what happened in the last few hours of the little girl's life, starting with our interview of the couple. Her mom told us last week.
We dropped her off at school, close to school.
We dropped her off at school, close to school. Which one is it, Jen?
I'm going to walk the rest of the way.
But in that same interview, then said,
I wasn't the one who took her to school in the morning. That was my partner.
I swear she says I was the one.
Detectives believe Maddie was likely dead early Monday morning because of video time.
I wasn't the one who took her to school in the morning.
She does. She says I was the one. You guys listen closely.
I wasn't the one who took her to school in the morning. That was my partner.
Then she says that was my partner.
Detectives believe Maddie was likely dead early Monday morning because a video timeline shows Maddie's belongings being dumped in a dumpster at 7:35 by Sterns. At 8:19, Sheriff Mina said video shows Maddie in Sterns' vehicle believed to be deceased. Since then, the case has moved to Kissimmee Police, and sources tell us that Soto has been interviewed multiple times by detectives at 2 agencies, and that they are looking closely at all the statements she's made. But officially.
So I watched that brief birthday video. The only thing I saw was one of the moms that did attend the party had taken those really cool pictures with Madeline kind of like running with the streamers behind her. And she said that she seemed fine and, you know, they all had fun. I don't know. I mean, they probably don't want to put anything out now because she went missing the next day. They probably don't want their children's photos everywhere. Do not blame them.
Kissimmee Police won't comment. So this initial report also shows that Sterns told investigators that after Maddie got out of his car, she stopped to look in that book bag before he drove away. That same book bag was found actually in the dumpster. After her death, he then said he went home for about an hour after going to the vape store and running errands. He was home that day until 2:30. Detectives say a tip showed him changing a flat tire not far from where the little girl's body was found that afternoon.
All right, Shannon, it is starting to piece together. Thank you. We also spoke to suspect Stephan Sterns before he was arrested. He also told us he dropped off Madeline for school the morning of her disappearance.
She was asleep for most of the way. Told her have a good day at school when she got out. I love her. She said thanks, love you too. That was it.
Again, law enforcement
He's
believes
one of the
Sterns
worst fake
never
criers
drove Madeline
ever.
to school and that she was already dead that morning.
Greg, also breaking this afternoon, the state attorney's office says it's asking the Florida Department of Law Enforcement to investigate how and why a photo that appeared to be a body in the woods was posted to the Osceola County Sheriff's personal Instagram page. The photo was posted less than 24 hours after investigators found Madeline Soto's body. Sheriff Marcos Lopez, who you see here, said he accidentally posted the image when sharing a post of himself visiting a senior citizens area. The sheriff's office has not said why the sheriff had the photo or who took it. Developments continue to come out in this tragic story in our community. For Eyewitness News at 5, we'll show you the impact Madeline's death has had.
Sixth Sense says, I know as a parent myself, I would be a total wreck if my daughter went missing. I get all little bent out of shape sometimes when I hear things that people say about parents. And, you know, I mean, of course, we always look at the parents first. It's just the way it is. Law enforcement does the same thing. But when I see people say, I would never act that way, I'm thinking if my daughter went missing, good Lord, I've never done drugs in my life, but I'd probably be a heroin addict or something. I mean, I think I would just lose it, literally. So You never know what you're going to do. On the other hand, maybe I would just freeze up. We don't know what we'd do until we're in those situations. All right, so this next one goes on and addresses mom just a little bit more. And they say, lady, you might need an attorney. Now, there's a rumor that Jen has lawyered up. I can say that I looked high and low for any, that it was a fact, and I cannot find it anywhere. If somebody finds that for a fact, then, send it to me if you will. But I believe it's a rumor at this point. It might not be, but I believe it is. But this is something else right here.
And there was a conflict between the mother and the daughter. I even asked Fox 35, I said, hey.
Does Madeline Soto's mother, Jen, does she need to hire an attorney tonight? With everything that's happening in this investigation, let's bring in our think tank. Joining us in Seattle, Washington, trial attorney, fellow of the American College of Trial Lawyers, Ann Bremner. Also with us in West Palm Beach, Florida, trial attorney, former police lieutenant.
Vanessa, that's a really good question, because I think when we're good parents, we think we're doing all the right things, right? Like we check out our kids' friends and we make sure we know where they're going, who they're hanging out with, who they're dating, you name it. But we can't be there 24/7. And there are signs that you would definitely, hopefully see. But a lot of those signs can also be a kid being a kid, or like in this case, Jen said she ADHD. She got diagnosed with autism. So they got a second one, and then she was kind of just borderline. Well, a lot of those things that she was exhibiting very well could have been from what she had been dealing with for years.
Rick King, and in Atlanta, Georgia, not sitting next to Spike Lee at MSG tonight watching his Hawks, family law attorney and law professor at Emory University, Randy Kessler, with us as well. Great to see everyone. Ann Bremner, what do you think? Does Madeline's mom need an attorney?
Yeah. She needed an attorney before she gave that whole interview. And I don't practice in Florida. I know Rick does. But I would not want to take on her case right now. I think she's in trouble.
Okay, she's not charged with anything. No one's been charged.
I know.
Anything having to do with the disappearance or murder of Madeline Soto yet. Boyfriend.
This lady's like, yeah, she's in trouble. I wouldn't want to take this case for nothing.
Rick has been charged for sexual abuse based upon what they found on his cell phone that he accidentally did a factory reset on the day of the disappearance. Rick, what are your thoughts about this? Do you think mom needs a lawyer tonight?
Yeah, I agree with Ann. She needed a lawyer before she made those statements to law enforcement or to the media, because she implicated herself, because she said, we took her to the school. We dropped her off nearby. The boyfriend said something, he said I. So somehow she put herself in the mix, and because of that statement, and believe me, I'm sure they're going to continue digging for more evidence. I think she is definitely implicated, and she needed a lawyer yesterday.
Well, here's the thing, though, Randy. Here's the situation. A mother has a missing child, right? Generally, you want to be in the news. You want your child found. You want to make as much noise as possible, shine the light on it. Please, have you seen my child? Have you seen my child? And your first inclination wouldn't be to call, Rick King. Rick, my child's missing. Should I tell anyone about it?
Right.
And Rick's going to say, well.
Definitely a double-edged sword.
There's going to be some follow-up there. What are your thoughts tonight?
Here's my thoughts. My child goes missing. I'm not going to give a hoot what anybody thinks of me. Like, I'd be like, talk away. I don't care, but just go find my child. but I get kind of what they're saying about the attorney. And the older gentleman here, he's going to talk a little about it. And he makes a good point. He's like, in a situation like this, an attorney isn't just there, to tell you to be quiet. And he kind of expands on that a bit.
Randy, though, should she be hiring an attorney even though no one's been charged, she hasn't been arrested, she hasn't been named as a suspect?
Newsflash, Vinny. Innocent people hire lawyers all the time, right? And innocent people that don't want to go to jail should hire lawyers even more than guilty people should hire lawyers. So there's nothing wrong with hiring a lawyer, and there should be people around her telling her, you need to have a lawyer. Everyone knows family members are the ones that are going to be looked at first. You were the ones that were closest to her, the most information. She should have had a lawyer, like my fellow guests, like Susan and Rick said. Like Ann and Rick said. Not tonight, not yesterday. As soon as this thing happened, talk to a lawyer, figure out what could happen. Lawyers can help you find the person that did it. They can give you a lot more information than just how to protect yourself, but certainly she needs a lawyer. Things are getting worse for her.
Let's do this. Let's watch something together. Interview with WFTV down in Orlando, doing great work on this case. Let me throw this out to everyone. Is there a scenario? Let's again presume that she's innocent, but let's presume that she's factually innocent.
That's
okay?
a good presumption, Vinny.
Right,
That's the right presumption.
For the sake of the argument, we're presuming that she's factually innocent. Is there any scenario, Rick, where you would see an attorney saying, no, you're not going to talk to law enforcement, the mother of the victim?
So, Vinny, here's what I would say. If I talk to her in advance and she gives me answers when I'm asking her what happened that seem to be inconsistent with the facts that are already known, yeah, I got to say, hey, listen, we're not going to talk to the media.
What are you saying? That's probably why the renter of that house with the Kansas City 3, he had lawyered up right away. We never heard a word from him. Hi, Miss Chewy. How are you doing? Thanks for coming in.
Or law enforcement, I'll do that. Whatever we need to get out to them, I'll get out. But yeah, if her facts don't line up with what I know to be true,
try to hold me down.
You can't let her do it.
Even if she's factually innocent, if her story just is, there's something off about it. Ann Bremner, your thoughts about the mother of a murdered 13-year-old gets called in by police, and her lawyer's not allowing her to be interviewed.
Well, about this mother, I think that's what should happen. And I can take it all on myself as a lawyer and say, I've told her at this point, but I don't know enough about the case, so I don't want her to talk. Maybe she will at a different time. I'll put it all on myself. I mean, 2 cases where we've had this happen, where it just tubed somebody, was Scott Peterson. Remember when he gave that statement that was played over and over again, and he gave to the press? Likewise, Casey Anthony. I mean, she was acquitted, but she could have been convicted on her own words. So I just wouldn't let her do it. Not from what
even if innocent,
this mother,
even
this
if
mother.
Actually innocent,
Yeah.
had nothing to do with this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
And that's where we are tonight in this case. No one's been charged. She hasn't been charged. She's not named as a suspect, but she has given a story, and the story vacillated a little bit from we dropped her off. Oh no, I wasn't there. That's, to me, that's problematic. Very problematic. Okay. Think tank.
Well, she said she didn't go to the birthday party because she had to work that Sunday night. So what is next? What could we expect next from this? And I have one last short clip about that. They're going to kind of go over, what we can expect.
Still no charges have been filed in the death of Madeline Soto, as her mother's boyfriend, a prime suspect in the case, remains in jail on other charges. The Kissimmee Police Department says their work continues on this case, and that is the main focus right now. West 2's Haley Crumbleholm spoke with a professor of forensic studies about what steps they're likely taking right now.
Stephan Sterns is here in the Osceola County Jail on no bond for charges of possession of child sexual abuse material and sexual battery. The professor I spoke with said it's hard to give a timeline of when or if someone could be charged in connection with Madeline's death.
Your Honor, at this time, I am going to waive Mr. Sterns' appearance.
An attorney for Stephan Sterns waived his first appearance on the sexual.
The Sixth Sense, yes. He wasn't working.
Battery and possession of child sexual abuse material charges over the weekend. He's been named a prime suspect in the case of his girlfriend's daughter, Madeline Soto. But there's really no timeline on if or when he could be charged for it.
You really have to give the investigators time to put the pieces of this puzzle together.
Dr. David Thomas is a professor of forensic studies and served as a police officer for decades. At one point, he was the dean of the CSI Academy of Florida. He says Sterns' arrest on other charges gives investigators some time to focus on the investigation into Madeline's death. Because once you charge a suspect, they have the right to a speedy trial.
Which means that in 180 days, they have to bring that case to trial. So now that you have him on something that's independent and separate, you have time to process this and do this investigation the right way.
I think that is so important for a lot of us to remember. Case after case after case, we see the person of interest is usually picked up, put in jail on a lesser charge. So, for instance, Elijah Vu, his mom, her original charges were because she lied to the police officers about where she was, right? They still put her in jail and they can keep her there. Yes. So if they have something to go on, they're going to put them in jail and they're going to do everything they can to get that information out of them.
And there's no rush because there's no bond.
He says there are key pieces of evidence they'll be taking a look at.
He said there's no rush because there's no body. Well, at this point, they did find her, but
number one thing they will probably be looking for is DNA.
And collecting video evidence is crucial.
There's Ring doorbell cameras. There's cameras on just about every house.
There's too many factors to come up with a timeline for potential further charges. For example, if evidence points to another person of interest. And what can really change the course of it.
He does not have a job. He used to work at Disney. His friend said he actually started working at Disney when he first met Jen or moved in with Jen, one of the two, but it was a while back. But he is not working now. I don't know how long he hasn't been.
An investigation if a suspect talks or if they don't.
If he doesn't talk, he doesn't give a confession, and that means they're literally they're starting from square one and putting those pieces of the puzzle together. And like I said, it may take time.
For now, the only information Kissimmee police are sharing is that they're focusing on the investigation at hand. In Osceola County, Haley Crumbleholm, West 2 News.
So, Jesse, regarding that lawsuit as a child when he was hit by the car, his friend said that Stephan's mom blew it all. She blew every last bit of it. And then, treated him meanly about the whole situation. All right. Rumors. I despise rumors. They were not living together. He was living with his parents for the past 3 months. Therefore, her mom wasn't letting her sleep in a bed with him. That all came about from the grandmother. When she did her interview, she said that Madeline was very fearful of lots of things. And sleeping by herself was one of those things. Well, we probably know why, don't we? Her telling friends at school that this was happening. That's only a rumor at this point. It's he said, she said. Nobody yet has said that they heard it directly from Maddie. It's, I heard it from my son or some kids at the school, things like that. So I just don't take things like that into consideration. The mom did not wait to call. Her first call to law enforcement was at 4:43 in the afternoon. Then they didn't come until almost 8. Now, I don't know if she called them again, but the affidavit says 8 p.m. But there was also an original call log, and I do have that, and it says she called at 4:43. So not long after she realized that Madeline was missing. B, maybe Maddie was pregnant. All right. Hope I don't piss anybody off, but it's just the way it is. We have no evidence of that whatsoever. This is a barely 13-year-old child. It's possible. Yeah, it is. But right now, we have nothing that says she is. People saying that her birthday picture, she's, fuller and all that. Oh, that's awful, you guys. It really is. I think what has already happened to her, what she suffered while she was alive, what she suffered when he got rid of her, that's horrible enough. So I don't think we need to sensationalize it to make it even worse than what it already is, because it's already horrible. So I don't know. I won't be touching that. Any comments that mention her being pregnant, I am just going to delete those right away. I think that, we all speculate, we all theorize, and that's just what we do. I'm the same way, but not everything has to be said out loud. So those are my thoughts on that. But I really dislike when there's a victim and things are put on that victim that we have no proof of. So that's what I think about that. But my thoughts. All right. He took her that morning. I think it's quite a coincidence that when her body needed to be transported, Mom conveniently asks him to take her to school at one time. Mom herself says she always takes her. But that one morning that Stephan needed to get rid of her body, that's the morning Mom calls him to come over to take her to school. That doesn't sound right to me. The second thing is, who took those pictures and videos? It's possible he took them himself, but based on that arrest affidavit and the details in it, to me, feels like it might be a little bit difficult to do by himself. Maybe not, but I think it would be. But now the mom not attending the party, and a lot of you had a problem with this, and I do too. Mom says she had to work. Madeline's actual birthday was at the beginning of the week. Why didn't they do her birthday party earlier in the day or on Saturday or even one of the weeknight evenings? It's really, really strange for a caring mother to even consider missing their child's 13th birthday party. If any of you've ever had a 13-year-old girl, that 13th birthday means the world to them. That's their, coming of age. They're becoming a teenager and they think they're little adults at that point and they know everything. 13, 16, 18, and 21. Those are important birthdays. It's really hard for me to be cool with that. The last one, Mom just not being honest. There is things that are definite red flags and everybody is seeing them. No doubt law enforcement is watching her very closely and listening to everything, which is why she's not talking now. So this is the only thing I actually will throw a theory out there, because I don't like to do it. But we don't know if she knew about this or not. Her actions, reactions, her answers, those speak volumes to me and to many others. In my opinion, she is either involved somehow, or she could have been the one that did it. Maybe sometime in the middle of the night, morning, whatever, mom walked in on them and caught them and unleashed her anger on Madeline, then forced him to get rid of her. What's he going to do at that point? Say he's not going to? Well, buddy, I just busted you and you're going to prison. So that would be my only, if he didn't do it kind of scenario, is that might be a possibility. I would be very surprised to not see her arrested very soon. If nothing else, just for like obstruction, for lying, things like that. Because she absolutely did. So those are my thoughts on the case anyway. And then this picture, I actually got off Facebook group and I went back to find it. I couldn't find who made it, but it was so pretty. It just says in loving memory of Madeline Soto, and then justice coming soon. So let me look at some of the comments real quick. Yeah, that's what his buddy said when he was only like 13 years old. And he said that Stephan had a very bad porn obsession. Yeah, it would have been Sixth Sense. That's what I'm saying. At first, when it happened, I thought something must have happened like right before school, right? Or maybe in the car. But now I really feel it was like middle of the night. And I feel like law enforcement feels the same. Like either it was the night before or it was sometime in those early morning hours before people would normally be awake, getting ready for school. I mean, it's possible, Vanessa. We really don't know a whole lot about Jen's personality. I hate to think that of anybody, but it happens. It happens all the time, actually. And if she did walk in on him, possibly, of course she would have lost her shit. Maybe she lost it on both of them and hurt one. I don't know. I don't know. We'll find out soon. But that's just my other theory, if he personally did not do it. Yeah, that's what we all do, right, Sarah? Like, it's very rare anymore that we can celebrate a birthday party on the actual day of the birthday. So usually we'll give like a gift and have a cake, ice cream, whatever. And then when everybody else is available, that's when we plan the actual party, right? Yeah, she could have. And like I said, I hate to think that, but we know that it happens all the time. So there's no reason to think that it's not a possibility. Jesse, you think he stole them? Yeah, I mean, it's possible. Yeah. Her interviews were just so off. They truly were. I also give a lot of leeway to parents when their children first go missing because I just can't imagine. Like I said earlier, I would probably either destroy myself, freeze, or I would start fighting like hell. I don't know how I would act. I really don't. I hope I never have to find out. So I do try to give them a little bit of leeway. But a lie is a lie is a lie. Yeah, Vanessa, you listen to those same interviews. If you guys haven't, definitely go to Gray Hughes Investigates. He put the phone calls from the friends in their own little videos. So they're only like 25 minutes long and really easy to just listen to real quickly. T-Rev 757. He also has one on his channel. Now, the guy that called him was kind of something else. And T-Rev thought the same. So that I didn't include the things he said. But he said some pretty bad things about little Stephan. So I just suggest watching both of those if you haven't. Yeah, well, I was tired after a long night's sleep. Well, I can tell you, doing the job she did for Disney, like I said at the beginning of this, I just kind of know for a fact somehow that, first of all, they would not be open probably past 11 o'clock at night. They give an option to work at home as well, unless she was working at but she was she was like a travel agent, a Disney travel agent. So she very well could have been working from home. I don't know. Does anybody know? I mean, she wasn't working as travel agent at 3 a.m. Yeah, she did. She seemed really scared, very nervous. Nervous. That is how she came off. Yeah. That's what his friend says. There's 2 different addresses listed. He's driving his dad's car. So that all adds up to me that he was not living there. And the fact that she said she called him to come pick her up. So he wasn't already there, unless she's lying about that too. That's highly possible, Jesse. But it made the mom deal with it. Oh, I would have dealt with him real fast. Yeah, the sleeping on the way to school. Well, maybe. I don't know. Like, how late was that birthday party? How late did she stay up when she got home? 13-year-olds are kind of hard to get up for school. Well, at least I was anyway. They stopped calling my parents. Do you really, Vanessa? See, I don't. Because they've broken up so many times. She is the only one that makes any money. She is the one with the home. Like, this dude has nothing. So, and the fact that they've broken up many times, I don't get that anything from my man vibe. Except for when she was rubbing his shoulders. It was weird. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, like I said at the beginning of this, I never do live streams. Very, very seldom. So I tried to do this as a recording and I got it completely finished. And I went to listen to make sure everything is okay. And my audio wasn't on. The same thing that happened when the live started. So I do apologize. But I was like, I'm not going to sit here and try to record it again. So Stephan's one friend said that he has a definite Adderall addiction, that the mom, Jen, and his friend knew her well too, that she is on quite a few mental health medications. Nothing against that at all, by all means. But if she wasn't taking them properly, I have heard she has bipolar, but that's, who knows? We certainly don't. Yeah, that's a big problem. Yeah, Christine, go watch that. He put it in a separate video, so it makes it really easy. Yeah, he said she slept on the way to school. Yeah, that pet feeder. Somebody said that was Stephan's voice programmed. I don't know if it is or not, but I think a few people have actually said that. Maybe she got creeped out. I mean, he was sitting behind her, staring her down like, don't you say a wrong word kind of thing. If I was doing an interview with the news and my husband sat behind me like that, the reporter would get an earful. Because I tell you, get the hell out of here. So Jesse, was it the grandmother that had the birthday party? I think you're right. I think I did see that it was the grandmother. But then why wouldn't the mom have just had the party? Like that, still makes no sense. Stephan is 37, I believe. And sure enough, still mooching off his parents. That's highly possible. Jesse said those breakups were all manipulative on both of their parts. Dysfunctional codependency. Yeah, toxic. Probably very toxic. Yeah, I don't know. Another thing that his friend said, there's a picture. So the one picture where like his face looks full, he actually looks fairly decent looking in it. That picture is like 2 years old. His friend said the picture, like the difference between that picture and the way he looks now, that he has lost a ton of weight. He said he never saw him eat. And like I said, lots of Adderall and up all night and sleeping all day. I was a parrot that for the bird feed or thought it was an automatic kind of feeder. Or is it an automatic parrot feeder? I don't know. Okay, that's what I thought. It sounds like a parrot. It sure does. But yeah, it's like an automatic feeder. But I think that it's Stephan's voice on it or something. Maybe it might be Maddie's voice. His friend said that they met about 8 years ago, but that they have definitely been on and off the entire time. And that a lot of times when they would break up, that he would stay in that spare room, which is weird. She probably felt bad for him because he's a loser. I'm trying to get to Jesse's. His face looks like a light bulb. Oh my gosh. Oh, mercy. So I don't know. To go listen to those interviews if you haven't, though. I didn't watch them at first. I figured I wouldn't be very interested, but they were. They really were. All right, you guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with me tonight and all the mishaps. Hopefully, the more I do this, the less anxiety I'll get over it. But I really appreciate you guys. If you haven't, please give it a like. I do have memberships. That's the best way to support the channel. Just click the join at the top. And other than that, subscribe. I appreciate you guys so much. And I will see you soon. Stay safe. Take care of each other. Bye-bye.